will be focusing on more. Okay. So with that, what is the role? Before getting into the role of a B2B advertisement, right side, if you say that is a surprising kind of result, survey result. So generally, what happens or what is our belief about the connections with brands, right? We believe that or we assume that because we are using those products, let's say mobile phone or a laptop or let's say any FMCG product, food item, chips, snacks, right? Because we are day to day using those products, emotionally connection will be much more stronger with B2C brands, right? Think about left side, Amazon, Microsoft, L'Oreal, Target or Walmart, maybe a US specific company. India specific, you can think of many companies, let's say ITC product, PNG or HUL products, right? In FMCG category, Flipkart, Ola, Uber, right? Because day to day we are using those brands. Obviously, I do know that this is, I think, 2017 or 2018 study, so a little bit older. Uh, our results might slightly change in today's world. But the strange part or surprising part is uh, generally our assumption is that B2B connection of emotional connection, right, is not there or will be less than B2C. But surprisingly, if you see the results for specific certain brands, let's say SAP, Oracle, Cisco, Accenture, PwC in consulting, Deloitte in consulting, Salesforce is basically into CRM, marketing automation, right? FedEx, logistics, right? These most of the companies, right, are getting a higher result in emotional connection, which is strange because B2C, we are as users or customers or consumers are using those products, solutions, services. B2B, yes, obviously the humans are buying those products, but they are buying for the company, right? So when we buy laptops or the ICT team is buying the laptop for universities, it is the team which is deciding, right? And students, as students, you will be using. But it has been seen that, or at least for this survey result, the connection, the emotional connection of B2B brands, that is much more. And the answer is already given because the last answer or the last line, if you read, the decision impacts credibility and career, right? And because I used to work in that role, believe me, that is true. Because see, if I make a wrong decision, if I do not choose a right company which is going to serve my company for a longer term, that decision is poor. Because if when I'm purchasing, that is going to be used by a lot of people in my company, right? It will have certain objectives to save cost or to improve efficiency, right? It should have less maintenance, less service, better kind of advantages than competitors, right? But let's say I just look into short-term goals and I chose certain other companies, right? I will get most some of the times public sector might be some of the times private sector. If you do a mistake in purchase manager or procurement manager role, you will be fired for certain next year because that is a very sensitive role. It has a lot to do with the financial aspect. If you choose a company doing all the like validation process at the point at the end you choose a wrong company to take a product or a solution, right? And that is why that is the one problem also, because what happens, people do not want to switch the traditional mindset. If somebody comes up with a better solution also, right, but if he is not a established brand, most of the companies will not move to other newer players in like most of the companies. If you look into, if they are using Tata Steel, right, let's say other Bhushan anyhow is getting to here, got acquired, but some, let's say, small manufacturer came with a better manufacturing steel or other components, people or those purchase managers won't get into the smaller player, because this brand connection, if they're breaking and later on this smaller player is not able to maintain the quality or not able to perform as whatever they had promised, this guy is going to lose their job, right? So that is one of the key point, right, to having that connection, that okay, if I have trust, right, It is basically when you talk about emotion here, it is basically as a purchase manager or procurement manager, and it might be biased also, right? A lot of times our biasness comes into picture, but anyway, that trust has to be there. If I so because see, if I'm buying a laptop, let's say I am the purchase manager and I am taking all the decision. And, just an assumption, right? I do not take that decision, but let's say if I'm making that decision, purchasing something, textbooks or some laptops or something for the students, right? And I am making a personal decision. I choose a brand for my personal decision. I make a wrong decision. I might lose 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 rupees max, right? And then next year I'll not buy. I'll put a wrong kind of a review or a negative review on the different platform that this laptop or this product is not good, and that's it, right? But when I'm buying the same product for 5,000, 10,000 students, and if I do a wrong decision, if I make a wrong decision, students are going to complain and I'm going to lose my job because it is a huge investment, right? And that is where I need to trust that brand. That okay, yes, I know this brand, they have been supplying or they have delivered these kind of products, they have less claims, they don't. So that trust has to come, right? Again, obviously, trust will have its own biasness, but that trust has to be there, and that's why that emotional connect with B2B brands is much more than B2C, right? Then the question is, what is the role? Again, these are the same thing in B2C also. First thing, obviously, awareness. 61 percentage of the design engineers, right, for in a magazine ad, they are unaware about the company before seeing the ad, right? Most of the times in B2B, and this is a like kind of like kind of a regular case, right? If you open like there are certain publications which specify, let's say if I go to a hospital, right, there will be certain magazines lying around in the lobby, right, which generally talks about the different machines, different equipment, CT machines, CT scan machines, MRI machines, some drugs, new drugs, right? So this is basically catered to that healthcare industry, right? If I go to a manufacturing plant, if I go to, let's say, Mahindra, Maruti, or any kind of automobile, so there will be those automobile magazines, right? Talking about new products, new kind of technologies in that automobile world. If I go to any software company, TCS, Infosys, right? Uh, if people just walk into any kind of this company in the lobby, you will see many magazines, right? There will be some specific magazines particular to that industry. And if you browse through that, most of the companies you might not be aware about because they are the raw material or the component vendors. You never might have heard about that company, but they will be very big company. They will be into several billions of revenue, and that is something which is very particular because you are known. You might be a very big company, but you will be known to very few individuals. So obviously, we are not into B2C, right? You those purchase managers, procurement managers, are users, right? Will be much more. Obviously, Cisco, SaaS, SAP, Accenture, they are into the mainstream company. Everybody now have at least have heard about that name. But if I get into details, what is the actual business of SAP? What does actually a SaaS company do? Most of the people won't be able to answer that, right? Only, but at least they have heard about that company. But many B2B companies, people will not be aware about that company unless they come and like at least put those advertisement or so that is where one of the major challenge or major kind of criteria objective of B2B companies to at least make them aware, right? Unless that awareness starts, so you know that awareness, interest, desire, action, right? That AIDA model. Unless your awareness of your users, potential users, comes about your product, your brand, other steps won't never happen, right? Create preferences for company, right? So that is where the brand building activities come, right? So the first two part is mostly into the marketing area. Yes, yes, Saurabh.
Sir, in the creating awareness for the B2B company, sir.
Hmm.
So suppose I'm working for any B2B company and I have a client of B2B.
Hmm.
Sir, in that sense, I will create awareness for the company or the for customer, sir.
Awareness about your
Means
company's product to the customers, right? So whom
sir,
you are
but
making aware of.
Sir, but I'm dealing that product with B2B company, sir. In that sense, creating awareness for other company who is my client.
Yes. So when you say client or customers, who is that client? Let's say
The company is the
this
client.
company. Let's
Yes,
say a specific company you take. This company
yes, sir.
signifies come, which is industrial lighting, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Who
sir.
is going to read about your company, right? When I say you have to create awareness, you have to create awareness about those lighting products. With whom?
Okay, sir.
Obviously, at the end, when
For
I
the
talk about B2B, at the end, who is going to read about it? Is not a company which is going to read about your product, right? At the end,
yes,
those
sir. Yes, sir.
procurement managers, users should know about, okay, Philips has come up with this solution, which is 20% energy efficient, right? And that is where we
Yes, sir.
make a sales pitch. We will go to the CEO of the company. We'll say that, sir, you are putting 30 lakhs rupees on electricity per year. If you use my electric lighting system, you will save 6 lakhs of rupees, 20% of energy efficient. So that is your sales pitch. If I go and make that same sales pitch to the user or those building manager, administrator, right? I'll talk about the usage of that lighting. He might not be interested on how much money they're saving, but what I'll talk about, how much warranty, less warranty you have to maintenance, less maintenance you have to go through. I will have predictive maintenance, preventive maintenance. So every 6 months, 3 months, we'll come and go through all the lighting fixtures, lighting, check that, and if something is there, we'll replace it. You need not have to call us. So that is something. So that's what you remember whenever we are talking about B2B buying center. So in B2C, when I'm selling, it is the same sales pitch. This is a tasty product. This has less calorie, right? Most of the times,
Yes, sir.
obviously there will be slight. But when I'm selling the same product in a company itself, my messages will keep varying. If I'm going to meet the CFO, he will not understand the technical details. He doesn't care also. He will say
Yes, sir.
that,
Yes, sir.
okay, sir, at the end, how much money I'm going to save. So my messaging communication should be in such a way. If I'm going to user or the building manager, he will be much more worried about maintenance. Also, financials, you talk to finance. I don't care about that. Maintenance बहुत खर्चा होता है. How to reduce that? Maintenance, it is a headache. Every now and then there is a fixture issue, and I'm not going to change my building structure for you. So in the same building, and that is one of these companies like Philips and all those things face, right? Building is already constructed, right? When you go and replace lighting system, so they are not going to modify the building structure, walls or the roofs for you, right? In the same existing fixtures, existing system, how you put a lighting system, new lighting system, so that need to match, and most of these companies face that issue, right? But anyway, that is later on. So the point is, your sales communication has to be different, advertisement need to be different, very focused. You cannot go ahead with the same communication to all the stakeholders, right? Enhance sales effectiveness, efficiency, right? There is a slight difference between effectiveness and efficiency. Efficiency is looking into the operational side. If I putting 1 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees, right? How much like productivity I'm getting, right? Efficiency, how much customers and consumers I'm reaching out to, right? So that is little bit looking into operational side, right? With less cost, how much more audience, how many more customers I can reach into, right? So that is sales efficiency, right? When I talk about effectiveness, what was my goal, whether I'm able to reach out to that. So my goal, let's say for Signify right now, if Philips industrial lighting, if my goal is to by 2025 uh, 60 percentage of the lighting systems in all the stadiums across India should be from my company. Right now, I'm again, this is just example. I do not know the exact figure, just hypothetical. Let's say right now I have a market share of 30 percentage or 35 percentage. If I put a target within next 3 years, I should increase to 30, or let's say 45 or 50 or 60 percentage, right? Am I able to, with this sales communications advertisement, am I able to reach out to that? So it is a long term, right? Sales effectiveness, sorry, sales efficiency is short term. Okay, if I put that advertisement in a business publication, right? Different magazines, sports magazines are there, I'll put my advertisement there. right? Anyhow, because if stadiums I'm talking about, most of them will buy these sports magazines, whatever, whether it's football, cricket, hockey. So all those specific sports magazines, I'll start putting my advertisement, right? So how many? So but the players are not going to buy my products, right? They are not my customers. They are not my target customers, right? Whom I'm targeting? Those academy administrators. Sorry, your stadium administrators, right? So each stadium, wherever it is, Kalinga Stadium, Barbati Stadium, or Eden Garden in Kolkata, or wherever you look into, right? So there will be administrator, there will be managers who are looking into the administrators of whole stadium, right? So I am going to target them. So if I'm putting my advertisement in those publications, am I reaching out to them? And what kind of value I am showing them? That only prompt them to maybe change their lighting system. Not obviously not within 6 months, 3 months, but within next 2 to 3 years, whenever the next change happens. And that is something you have to keep in mind. B2B is always a long term, so that is a standard question. In B2C, it is a short sales cycle. B2B, most of the products are long sales cycle, because I'm not looking into 2 months or 3 months sales. Look about that lighting. I put an advertisement. They say, wow, 20% energy efficiency. They're not going to change their lighting. They have already put 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, or 30 lakhs already in the lighting. But what makes sense is, yes, that continuous messages should go on, so that next time when they're changing, next time when they were next 3 years, 2 years down the line, whenever there is a change in the stadium lighting, they will be looking for my product, right? So that messaging should be continuous. That is, we'll talk about the frequency of messaging, and that is one difficult part to look into, right? How frequently I should put those advertisement or publications. And it is a long-term process. It is not that okay, I put my product and they'll start buying just within 2 months or 3 months. I'm looking into 2 to 3 years in the future, right? So it is always a long lead sales cycle. In a B2C, it is a short-term sales cycle. Okay. So effectiveness, remember effectiveness in a longer term vision. We're looking into the marketing side of it. Efficiency is a shorter term vision. We'll look into the sales side of it. This year, if I put advertisement, how many audience I'll reach out to, right? So that is a very short term target, right? Looking into the numbers, looking into how many audience I reach out, how much money I spent to reach out to specific audiences. Effectiveness, if my desired goal is to reach out to at least, let's say, talk about awareness. Effectiveness can be also in the awareness. If I do carry out a survey and talk about how many of you know Philips lighting, right? Not you, but industrial buyers. If the awareness is around 80%, and my target is to make it 90%, so that is how I'm going to measure my effectiveness. So it is a long term. So it cannot be done within 2 months, right? It has to take certain steps to reach to awareness of 90-95%, right? So that is where effectiveness and efficiency vary. Any questions or any doubt on this? Okay. Remember these 5 steps again. Like I said, same steps can be utilized in B2C. Only thing what varies will be on the selection of media, right? The Some medias will be very specific. Let's say trade shows, right? Mostly B2B companies will be participating in trade shows. It is not that B2C companies do not participate, but majority 70 to 80% of them are B2B. There are again specific separate trade shows for B2C companies also, right? So first target is communication goals. Why I'm going to create that advertisement? To increase awareness, or to like kind of show the like some competitor analysis, or motivate buyers, right? So what is my end goal, right? If I'm a new company, right, into that market, my first goal should be on the awareness, and that should be a single line showing that how, why I am claiming that I am the best, or I am the, though I am new in the market, why I am the best company to have a partnership with, right? Not into the full details, looking into the competitive benchmarking. Market leaders will do that. So which position of which in the market, what is your position? Are you a startup just having a 0.005% market, or are you like a market leader with 50%, 30%, 40% of the market, right? And accordingly, your communication objective will vary. Intended audience and relevant decision criteria, right? And that is what I told you, right? For each of your audience, so B2B is little different, right? My audiences, and within that audiences, each of them will have different decision criteria. Same magazine, when that financial manager reads, his only motive will be to save money. He will not understand anything about the technical details. If I'm going and selling these software solutions to banks, that financial manager who is much more interested, because anytime that purchase decision being taken, that will be a group of people who will take that decision, and one of the significant partner in any company is that person from finance, and his only goal objective is to save company some money. So my messaging should be targeting that. Okay, how to, like, how if you use my product, service, or solution, how you are going to save money, right? Creative strategy statement, sometimes it is in-house, so which I have just asked you to do, create that one pager. Or sometimes you might appoint a advertisement agency, right, who basically discuss with you. If some of you have watched that series Mad Men, if not also, if some of you are interested in advertisement, I'll like kind of implore you to go and watch some of the not if not all, some of the episode, right? And some of the episodes are also available on YouTube. Look into that. How do they convince the client, right? So they are also B2B companies, right? Because see whom they are selling. So think about any advertisement company, advertising agencies, right? Big advertisement agency, right? So who their clients are? Their clients are companies. So their clients are not us, right? Not people like you and me. Their clients will be any company, whether it is B2C, B2B. So all the advertising agencies are into this B2B domain, right? So they what they sell, they sell those advertisement solutions, integrated marketing communication, right? So they are not now, maybe 10 years, 20 years back, they're just looking into, okay, I'll create a TV ad, or I'll create a print media ad, or I'll create a radio ad. Right now, if you go into all the advertisement agencies, they're talking about integrated marketing communication. They'll take the whole gamut of work from you, give a integrated solution that, okay, they'll take care of a social media promotion, they'll take care of TV promotions, they'll take care of this outside advertisement, banners, all those things. So that is what you have to decide, right? And accordingly, what that creative brief has to come into picture, right? So I think at least some of you know what is a creative brief. As a company, what I'm going to deliver to customers. So we'll see example in next slide. Then once you have decided that, right, determining advertisement budget. Theoretically, we'll discuss some concept, but in market, again that is a very like a big topic which has been debated many, like from academic side, from corporate side. Academic way of thinking is that you decide your objective, put a budget, adhere to that budget, and put some advertisement. Most of the times you'll see in even in the bigger companies, they have a fixed budget for advertisement. If the company makes loss, they'll reduce that budget, which is very strange or surprising, but that happens, right? It is not only uh, there are many constraints, CEOs or CFOs, and there are many reasons to reduce that budget, right? So there are many ways to determine that budget. So the like theoretical way or academics way of talking is objective task method. So you go by the objective, decide on what are your messages, what are the things you need to communicate, who are the audiences, then decide on the advertisement media, allocate some resources, then decide on what is your total resources or total money required to like kind of put those. It is not only TV advertisement, right? All everything combined, right? Social media, TV advertisement, outdoor advertisement, webinars, all combined. What is the budget we have? That is the objective task method, academic way of thinking, right? But Practically, corporate, what they'll do, okay, I have a loss last year, my revenue has decreased. So last year I put a money of, let's say, 2 crore or 1.5 crore on advertisement. We have to reduce that 1.2 crore because this year we do not have money. So that is again available budget or rule of thumb. Okay, whatever sales happens or profit happens, 2%, 5% of that, which is a silly thing, but again, practically they do that. They don't get into, and there are many reasons to it why they don't get into that, many constraints. Then once you have budget, right? Once you know that okay, these are the areas, these are the things. Again, it is not that a step by step. Some things parallelly happens. Parallelly, when you are taking approval for budget, because see, imagine a scenario, right? The company board or the higher management, you are from the marketing team, right? You go with a proposal. Now they say that no, this year we do not have money. We do not have money for TV advertisement. We cannot put our ads during IPL. They are charging a lot. We do not have money for that. So forget that. So now your messages, because media has changed. You might have, as a marketing manager, you might have thought, okay, we'll put into, because there will be a lot of audiences, lot of customers who will look into those. Now when they say that no, you cannot uh, showcase your advertisement during our IPL because these guys channels are charging a lot. We do not have that much money. So you have to drop that, right? So once you drop that, your messages will vary. Only if you are going through the social media promotions, not into the TV promotions. And sometimes those might be linked. So you might have some teasers saying that, okay, watch out for that TV advertisement. And that right now that TV advertisement is not there. So think how ahead you have to plan. Right now, people will be planning for next IPL World Cup and all those things. They have, because it is not that I planned and everything is done, I have the money for it. You have to take budget approval first. Once budget is approved only, then you know that okay, I have these medias, then only I can get into these messages. Anytime you are putting those Facebook post, Instagram post, as a business, obviously not as a person, but B2 company, right? And if I want to garner more audience, I have to pay money. That is where organic and inorganic advertisement comes into picture, right? So now once you know that okay, this is the budget, and now you think about how you are going to like reach out to your customers. Cross the perceptual barriers. There are three parts of messaging: perception, right? So this is most important in B2B, whether you will going into a technical ad or non-technical ad, right? And that is where you'll start with the audience, whom I'm targeting. If I'm targeting the financial managers, I'll not much more focus on the technicalities of the product, how much wattage, or how much like kind of energy efficiency, what are the like cable requirement. All those things are not finance managers are not going to understand, right? And that is the difference of technical admins getting into the technical details, comparison with a competitor, saying that why your product is a much better alternative, right? Non-technical ads looking into the energy, like kind of a, if somebody is environmental friendly, right? And that is where you build a customer persona. If you remember, in one class we are discussing, so you go and do a thorough kind of a check on those B2B like kind of a buying center persons, CEOs, CFOs, management who is going to take decisions. If you realize that that CFO is energy efficient, like he is much more into sustainability, right? Your messaging has to be there. So a lot of research get into that. It is not only into the how creative you are, how much detail oriented you are also getting the picture, right? And accordingly your messages will vary. Focus on benefits, right? Direct, and then that is in your call to action is always in B2C and B2B also, right? Anytime any messaging has to have a call to action. Then what it is not that I'm only informing. Then this is the way to reach out to me. If you want to save money, click here. If you want to change something, click here. If you want to make progress, apply here, right? So that call to action button, right? CTA, that has to be there. Understanding buyer motivations, right? That is where you have to have that research first, right? So it is not that now you are go and do market research. It is not like that. Go to market strategy, you have done that research when you created that product, or when you are developing that product or solutions. You have already have done that marketing research. What is your customer requirement, right? What are the challenges they are facing, right? And obviously not, it is not that any company, any product, any solution is going to solve all the challenges or problems, right? What are the problems, challenges you think you can solve through your product or solutions, right? And that is something we look into buyers motivations and focusing on that, right? Then select the media, particular messages, technical advertisement. People need time to read. If I just show in a TV advertisement which is 30 seconds, people will not able to read it out, right? Think about MRF tires, right? New technology has come, tubeless tires or something like sensor which will like allow a person to like know how much tire life is left, right? Or a laptop which is energy efficient or something like that, right? Any product which we are talking about. If I'm getting the technical details in the 30-second advertisement, in TV advertisement, I cannot show that, right? It can be put in my website, it can be put in a publication, right? So that is where your messaging, what kind of messaging you are going to create, will decide what kind of media, vice versa, right? TV advertisement is not there, right? So some of the creative idea what you have thought of, right, which will stick to consumers mind, is gone, because that is a visual aspect, right? They are going to lose, and that is a must, you are pushing it, right? It is not that customer will go to your website. So IPL happening, people are watching matches, anyhow that advertisement will be there. It will reach out to 20 million customers. Now what happens if your management says it is not there, budget is not there for TV advertisement? How you change that? So both are, though it is written step by step, both has to happen in parallel. Not both, all three of them. Your budgeting, how much budget approval you get, your messaging, and your media. Depending upon how much budget you have got, what kind of messages, what kind of medias you are using, all three are connected, right? Then evaluate, right? Some evaluation is easy, right? Print media. So before putting my ads or putting my advertisement in printed this magazines and all those things, right? Industrial publications, right? Generally there are certain matrices I look into. How much audience you reach out to, right? Whether you actually selling in those sectors or businesses, right? If let's say I'm GE Healthcare or Philips Healthcare, right? And I'm looking into certain magazines who basically hospitals buy. How many hospitals are buying these kind of magazines? So that is must before I release or before I put my print media on those magazines, right? So that is, things are some things are easy to measure. Your social media matrices, how many visitors, how many clicks, those can be measured, right? So that is something you have to remember, like what you are measuring and how it is relevant for you. Creating awareness, visitors can be linked, but how many of that visitors became your buyer? Is there a matrix which will help me to measure that? Because my end goal is not only on the awareness, right? That is the starting point. And I do believe that if awareness is increased, then interest will increase, desire will increase, then actions will increase, right? But from that 4 steps, from the first step, how those persons, customers reach out to last step, action, right? That is something is very difficult to measure, because it is a long term. It is not that, like I said, in B2B, it is not that suddenly I put advertisement and next month my sales increase, right? Because it is a long sales cycle, to measure that effectively is little bit difficult. If efficiency I can measure, how many I reach out to customer, how many customers I reach out to, because I know that these magazines or this TV advertisement is being shown to 22 million consumers, right? Out of that, maybe 0.005 percentage are into these kind of roles, right? That I can measure. How much cost I put to TV advertisement, this is the cost, and this is the audience I reach out to, right? Some companies have tie up with this kind of, let's I feel companies do have tie up, right? They sponsor those tournaments, Wimbledon, IBM, Rolex. So that there is a tie up, right? They know that, and why that time it is not that just for fun or just for promoting sports, right? It is obviously because of how much audience, why those specific kind of um, uh, venues, right? Not any other sports. So if you go and look into motor sports, these F1 races, there will be specific companies advertisement putting their advertisement there. If you go to Wimbledon, there will be specific companies advertising there. If you go to IPL, when it's advertisement, not the TV advertisement, the sponsorships, jersey on the jersey, your name will be there in the stadium itself, your banners and all those things will be there, right? And you will be written that okay, this is the, let's say, IPL Vivo or whatever, your this F1 race. So your name will be there as a joint partner, right? So that is something. It is little bit easier to measure the efficiency, shorter term role, rather than to measure the effectiveness, which is a longer term role. Okay. Anyhow, we'll get into each of them little bit of detail. First, setting advertisement objective and target market, right? Creative brief is something like this. You start with what is project. So basically, it is from the like looking to those advertisement agency if they are creating a creative brief for the client, right? Client name, project name, what is the brand, what is product, what is the purpose and opportunity. So this is basically a joint document which is created by that advertisement agency and client. Let's say you join any company, whether it is B2B or B2C. Some of the advertisement, some companies are there, they have a very good in-house creative team who can create or who have that capacity or expertise to create all these kind of advertisement. But most of the times they do depend on outside agencies, right? And which is basically, so that should be agreement, right? The client should tell their objective, the advertisement agency also should understand the objective, right? So this creative brief acts as a document, acts, so this document acts as a that uh, whatever communication you need to deliver to audience, and now your advertisement agency also understands that, right? That yes, both of you are in the same place. It's not that okay, I need to communicate something and the advertisement is being made in some other way, right? And so it takes a little bit of time to get into that agreement, and obviously the cost, messaging, schedule, everything need to be like kind of put into creative brief. So what basically objective, develop brand driven storytelling for whom, your audience. So again, it might be for B2C, that is authentic, uh, purpose led and omni-channel to communicate the above parity performance of our product, right? Most of the times it looks like generic, but again, for your brand, for your particular product, remember that I am to, let's say if I'm from ITC, certain new snacks came, I have to creating advertisement for that particular snacks, right? Then how to like create a differentiation on that, right? And that obviously is difficult. It is not easy to put into 2 or 3 lines, right, without getting generic. So basically, out of this slide, if you take one point, creative brief is something, a joint document from advertisement agency and the client to have a similar purpose, a similar objective to communicate to your final consumers or audience, right? Then once you have objectives set, when you want to launch those advertisement, right, next year, let's say March, April. Okay, so all these things are being discussed on, right? Now you determine what are the advertisement expenditures, right? Like I said, rule of thumb is my sales or my profit is this much. Out of that, this is the percentage, 2%, 5%, 3%, or So this will remain fixed. Whatever happens, 3% of the sales, 2%, 1% of the sales will get into advertisement or available balance. I have only this much. CFO will say we have only 20 lakh rupees this year for advertisement. Whatever you do, you manage within that. I cannot give you a single penny above that, right? So mostly, if you see, though we talk about objective task method, most of the time in most of the organizations are these two methods are used because this takes time. By the time you come up with a budget, already lot of uh, most of the time people are overloaded. But ideally, it should happen that establish objective. So something like objective might be create awareness of new product among 20% of target market. Determine specific tasks, advertise on market area, television, radio, local newspaper, right? To so like I said, to reach out to 20% of the audience, what are the tasks? So create a TV advertisement so that for this next 3 months in a frequency of every week once, something like that, right? These are the detailed tasks, which so depending upon your audience, you have to select the show or let's say radio advertisement or business publication or webinars, right? So those are the things you have to decide. Then obviously estimate cost for each of them, then total it, then for each of them monitor and adjust, right? If something is doing better, right, reaching out to customers, let's say your social media advertisements are on fire, they are like pulling many more website visitors, so your focus will reach out to that. Okay, that did work well, now let us try to do it better, right? But unfortunately, uh, most of the time this is not taken care of. People go with the traditional available balance or rule of thumb. And any questions on this? Develop the message, determine advertisement objective, evaluate target audience, buying criteria, right? Sometimes it is a lost cause, right? uh, some of the companies mostly into this B2B, sorry, government organizations, no matter what you do, so they will go with the lowest bid, right? If you know that you can never go below certain um, like kind of price limit, so that is a lost cause, right? So if somebody, some organizations buying criteria is only lowest cost, whichever vendor gives us the lowest cost, we will go ahead with them, right? Obviously meeting the quality standard, and as a company you cannot go below certain cost, certain profit. Then it is a lost cost to every time going and reaching out to those customers, right? Reaching out to those audiences, right? Sometimes people do that to get foot in the door, to first at least start a business and continue with that. But again, you have to like make that decision. Those senior managers or the directors have to take that decisions, right? Whether they'll make a loss this year and get into that business, or they'll never get into. Some companies are there, MNCs are basically, so they know that they will not get into that market. Even there is a potential in future. Right now, they are not willing to make a loss. Right? Analyze most appropriate language format style to present message. Right. So that is somewhere you think of your technical art, non-technical art, what actually you have to emphasize, what you need not to emphasize, right? Remember, there won't be any product or solution which is based in everything, right? So if your like kind of cost is less, your quality might be little bit poorer than competitors, right? So there, when you are talking about your cost saving, you cannot bring the quality part because you know that your quality comparison to your competitor might be little less. So that is somewhere you cannot be a jack of all trades, right? Then consider the message. So these three parts we have discussed: perception, whether to get into the details or specific messages, benefit focus, and that is a must, whether it is B2B, B2C, what somebody is getting out of it. If somebody is buying your products or the solution platform, what they're getting out of it, right? Understanding buyer motivation, right? At the end, somebody is think about B2B, right? User, most of the times, user and buyers are different. In B2C, most of the times buyer and users will be same. Sometimes obviously will be different. Grocery items being bought by your parents or somebody at home, but consumers might be you, right? But here in B2B, most of the times somebody else is buying. Like I was giving that example of laptop, right? So buyer motivations will be little different. So that is where your messaging, whom you are sending your messages, right? When MRF, C8 or JK tires are putting that advertisement, obviously there is a B2C segment where people like you and me, we want to get a tire replacement. We are not going to our original vehicle manufacturer, right? Warranty is over. Now we are going to buy a certain kind of the market tires. But they also do target those companies, right? Those people who are sitting in those companies are going to make a decision of a new technology, new product, right? And that is somewhere like you have to think of your whom you are targeting, who is your audience, right? So so if you look into this, this is something which you need to create for your that assignment, right? Whether it is Signify, Orisa, or any B2B company, right? Very single document talking about their product solutions, little bit creativity, showing certain images, right? So it should be like if I somebody is talking about like where are you from, which product you are talking about, if I rather than giving 30-page 20-page document, that should be a single page. I can send through a WhatsApp messages, I can send it through a email. Nobody is going to read 20-page white paper, right? 10-page kind of a document. Single page, very simply creativity, showing what actually my product solution is going to do, right? Or what kind of benefits already have done, right? So there are many ways to create this document. There are already templates available. You can create. So your assignment is basically to create this kind of document for a particular that company, or you can choose any B2B company. I'm okay with that. Signify, Orisa, or any other company. Selecting advertisement media for business market, right? Uh, Obviously depending upon, again, budget is not there, you might not able to reach out through TV advertisement. But again, like looking into various factors, some B2B like technical messages you should not get into TV advertisement. uh, some comparison, it is better to show in website, right? It is easily like customers go and visit your website. If you show a comparison table, it is very easily accessible and easily readable format, right? Some dynamic things, obviously you cannot get into print media, animations and all those things obviously get into your website, right? So that is many decision factors. uh, what kind of messages, what is your messaging style, right? Obviously budget will decide what kind of media you are going to use, right? Whether it is a direct, one of the major component of your B2B advertisement is direct. Direct means I'm reaching to customers directly. So I know you, I'm sending an email to you, right? Indirect means, so I know that this is a target, but not individually, right? Direct means individually I'm reaching out to it. I want to sell my lighting products, or let's say this conversational tech products. I have the client emails. I know the emails of procurement managers. I know the emails of finance managers. I create a document, introduce myself, send a direct mail to them, right? Email earlier, obviously, they used to send this written mails, right? Typed mails. Right now, most of them are direct emails, right? So this is something which is, so that is the difference between direct advertisement, indirect advertisement, right? Direct advertisement, I'm one to one. I know you, or I have your details. I'm sending that to you, your office address or your email address. Indirect, I'll prove a print publication, assuming that you'll read out those advertisement or print publication. That is my assumption. Direct, I have that access, I have that contact details, right? That's a direct, actually in B2B works a kind of a lot better than your indirect. uh, all of them, any company B2B. So when you talk about this inside sales, right? Some roles come talk about this inside sales. Inside sales means this: sitting in your office, reaching out to customers through telephone, through mail, right? So you need not have to travel and all those things. But obviously, international market means it is obviously they're not going to send you to Europe or USA for a trip, right? Most of the times. Sitting out in the office, reaching out to them. How will you reach out? Either telephone or email, right? So email is little bit kind of professional because you can attach document, you can show the comparison. Unless you have know that person first, ideally you start with email, then get into the telephonic conversation. Many firms integrate their CRM programs with email, and that is somewhere your marketing automation has come into picture, right? So earlier, what used to happen? Manually, you will type email, send it to different leads, prospects, right? Now, what has happened? Once you capture all those details who visited your website, those email IDs, you collect those details and you have messages. So it is not that somebody is going to write that. Obviously, somebody will draft that message, but not manually going to send to this email, Gmail ID will put CC, BCC, and all those things. That part is right now automated. So that is the difference between CRM and marketing automation. CRM, you collect data, go through the whole customer life cycle, manage those information, reach out to customers. Marketing automation is where those emails and all those things is completely automated. Somebody visited your website. So one introductory mail will go introduce about your company product services. Out of that, let's say 10% is own interest or created, registered in your website to know more about your company. Next set of documents will go introducing about the product solutions, right? Then somebody out of them, maybe 1% or 0.1%, will look for a salesperson. Then only human salesperson will come into picture and they'll start connecting. So these part of interacting with customers has been already automated. Most of the companies, Marketo is one tool, HubSpot is another tool. Most of the companies are providing those solutions. The marketing automation part, right? So remember the difference between your CRM, marketing automation. Many firms provide an email alert service, email newsletter. All of these right now, earlier what used to happen 10 years back, 15 years back, manually somebody, if you join that role, you will be writing manual emails and all those things, right? But initial part right now has been automated, right? If let's say Taj Hotels, ITC, Moria, all those hotels, right? Anytime a guest visits, stays there for 2 or 3 days, then leaves the hotel. Automatic. Once they leave, automatic messages from that CRM system will go to those customers. Thank you for visiting our hotel, staying there for 2 to 3 days. Hope you had a wonderful stay. Will you take few minutes to take this survey? Right? It is not that somebody is writing that. This is already there. Once the guests check out, one email will go direct, reaching out directly to the customer. So that is direct. But when you talk about indirectly reaching out, right? There are many ways, many methods to reach out indirectly. Business publication is one most important one. If I'm selling, like in the previous company, we used to make those vehicles club car. So the brand name was club car. So those are small vehicles, electric vehicles basically, which runs on those golf courts, right? Different golf tournaments. Basically, if players are traveling right within that golf court, they'll travel with that vehicle. So we used to sell those vehicle in the name of club car. So where will I put if I'm trying to sell those? So I look into those magazines, sports magazine, which cater to those golf clubs, right? Accordingly, I'll publish my advertisement there. So many trade publications are requested publications. So basically, based upon requested publication means if they get all those, only they will talk about those companies only. There is no other details, right? So in business publication, there is so think about magazines like Outlook India Today. So there are news magazines. In that also there are advertisement. Think about sports magazines. They talk about sports persons who won the this sports, who lost that tournament, right? But in between there are advertisement. So there are specific purpose within that there are advertisement. But there will be certain publications, requested publications, which only shows the details about companies, details about product. So it is only for advertising. There is nothing else. And many companies get those documents, get those publications, because let's say as a company, like let's say this golf clubs and all those things, they need certain equipment, right, to maintain the golf facilities, right? So they will have those kind of magazines only with different product services catering to those golf fields, right? How you basically measure your business publication? Cost per thousand contact, right? So basically if I'm putting a full page advertisement, again in the newspaper also same, half page, full page, quarter page, right? Different budget or different pages is there. Then circulation in thousand, right? Let's say how many like kind of are putting an advertisement in. Let's say think about any sports magazine, right? Putting an advertisement, full page advertisement is, let's say I am a gym equipment or a sports equipment manufacturer. I'm catering to those gyms or those kind of clubs. So those are my audiences, right? If I'm they charge, let's say, 1 lakh or 5 lakh rupees per page, right? How I'm going to measure my efficiency, right? Cost per page. So putting that advertisement once, again, I might have to say that, okay, no, not once. I am going to put four advertisement each quarter one, or each month one for next 3 months, whatever the my requirement or whatever my frequency, right? How like what is the total budget, right? So cost per page, let's say 1 lakh or 50,000 or whatever it is, right? Divided by circulation in thousand, right? How many audience they are going to reach? 10,000, 5,000, 2,000, 1,000. That gives me a efficiency, right? If let's say 50,000 and they reach out, look into the circulation is my target audience, not total audience. So they might be circulating to all the businesses, but I am only looking to gyms or those sports clubs, because I'm not going to sell my equipment to hospitals or universities. They are not my audience, and that is something very critical. How many audience or prospect customers are actually reading those magazines or purchasing those magazines, right? So if I'm looking to put advertisement in India Today or Outlook, how many actually buy those gyms or so if they are able to give me, so that is some data they will be asking. Show me how many, or like who are your customers and how many of them are from this area. If they show that, okay, there are 100 businesses or 500 businesses who purchase my magazine, they have annual subscription. So that becomes a thousand businesses, right? That becomes my kind of how many audiences I'm going to reach. So my total money divided by that many people in thousand, right? 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. Let's say they'll say that, okay, it generally in India there are 5,000 clubs or uh, these sports clubs which buy this sports magazine, right? So I'm putting for 50,000. I'm putting 50,000 rupees for a one page advertisement. 50,000 divided by 5,000, right? So that becomes 10 rupees to meet a, just reach out to one customer through print media, right? So that will give me a number. But again, that has to be target audience. If they say, no, I reach out to 5 lakh businesses, it doesn't concern me. Out of those 5 lakh or 1 lakh businesses, how many of them are sports clubs? Let's say only 2,000 or 5,000 are sports clubs, gyms who buy these magazines all over India, right? Does the medium also have internet thing? In today's world, you have to look into not only the physical, people are subscribing, right? Most of the people after this pandemic moved into the like online subscriptions, right? Many people have switched to only viewing news and all those things on your digital media. So that is something you have to look into. Whether parallel, when you are telling that this advertisement will get into this publication, it has to showcase in your website also, right? Then frequency and scheduling is another complicated issue. Obviously, that is true. How many times in a year, right? That frequency and all those things. Website, I'll not get into details. Obviously, website is a standard way of reaching out to your audiences. Sometimes outdoor advertisement, right? Big game, let's Olympics happens and all those things happen, right? So near that you put Wimbledon happens, IPL happens. So outdoor advertisement plays a vital role there. Search engines, some of you or most of you have taken this digital and social media marketing. So I again not want to emphasize the importance of it, right? I think at least you most of you are aware that okay, in today's world how much important, whether you are a B2B, B2C startup, any kind of company, how much important to have a good social media strategy, right? Makes your site is I think that example I have given multiple times. Each second you page gets uh, delayed in loading, 20 to 30 percentage of your visitors go away. So remember the importance of making your page website simple. So there are many tools in Google. If you go and if let's say if some of you have created your own blogs, check that, go that and check that how much time it actually, somebody opens in a iPhone, somebody opens in a mobile tablet, how much time actually it takes to open that your website, right? Then search crawler friendly, right? It is not like whenever anybody searches specific keywords, your obviously your website is coming up front. Good keywords must tie into solutions sort, right? And that is where remember the message, perception, benefit focus. Nobody is going to read out earlier what used to happen. Technical details, lot of technical use details used to come. Now you just go any Cisco, SAP, any kind of website. Headlines just talking about the solutions, because that is something which is somebody is going to search, right? So that is in the next slide. We'll talk about informational keywords and buyer keywords. Information which I'm trying to give it to customers. Buyer keywords is something which customer types in the search page, right? And I have to keep both of them in my website. If I'm just putting informational keywords, okay, these are the things about my product, right? But customer is searching, let's say logistics company which is from Bangalore, or logistics company which is from Odisha, right? So I'll never reach out to that because that keyword is not there in my website. Let's say I'm a logistics provider, new startup catering to all these B2B companies, taking care of their supply chain solutions. I'm just talking about how artificial intelligence, I'm using machine learning, artificial intelligence to improve efficiency, or let's say this new company, Orisa, they're talking about conversational tech. When they're creating website, and that is something you will find out that if you go to their website and there is, you'll find out some things which can be improved upon. But when a company procurement manager is searching, what kind of keywords they're using, that also need to be adhered to. That also need to be part of my website. So there are two types of keywords. Create relevant targeted keyword list which reflects problem product. So you have to take care of everything. Yeah. Put yourself in customers' shoe. What kind of things they can search on, right? Write clear compelling ads that use keywords, isolate your value proposition, track results, and so in social media it is little bit of easier. So you know that click per cost per click and all those things you can measure how much for each keyword, how much money you have to pay. So this is what I was talking about. If I'm a logistic company, informational keyword to inform something to the customers, how to save money on shipping. So these are the blogs and all those things which will be in my website. How to choose a fulfillment center, USP shipping, so comparison of my shipping with DHL or something. But buyer keywords, software to track. So this is something which somebody types, let's say procurement manager or purchase manager, looking for a company, what they will type on the search bar. So they might not look for how to save money on shipping. They might be typing logistics service company. They're looking for logistics service company in Bombay, logistics service company in Odisha, right? So you have to keep all of them. So you just focus on informational keywords, misfire keywords. You will never into the top 10 or top 20 in Google. Again, you have to put a lot in this inorganic advertisement, putting CPC and all those things, right? Social media, LinkedIn is a major medium, right? And once you join any B2B company, you will understand the importance of LinkedIn. Obviously, in our personal career also, it is very important, but in business advertisement also. particular time when your LinkedIn engagement is higher, right? 4 p.m. Wednesday. If you look into the darker side, that is the time when you put your advertisement. Again, depending upon the industry, company size, function, and employee. So you'll get a lot of details from LinkedIn. You can create customer persona. If I'm going to target, so if some of you join B2B, make sure that you have a clear understanding of how to use LinkedIn. That will give you a lot of ideas about customers, how to reach out to customers, whom to reach out for, how to build network, apart from your personal career progress. Content marketing. So this is somewhere your white papers, case studies, webinars comes into picture, right? B2B means it has to be there. In-person events, going and meeting those one-to-one. Webinars, webcasters is 66% effectiveness, much more than videos, online presentations. So look into this number: 66%, 65%, 63% is effectiveness. Putting that long-term goal, right? Creating awareness, motivating consumers, right? Getting into much more energy, sustainable solutions, right? Webinars can be of different types, just to inform vendors or motivate them, talking about new technology. In today's world, obviously pandemic changed that. Most of the people were not aware of webinars. Now you see the importance of it. It is interactive, low cost. Obviously, you are not going and visiting a trade show, right? With less cost, you can reach out to a lot of audience. So many kind of advantages of doing webinars. Webinars, you know that like a session, Zoom session I'm doing, I can take a webinar on talking about, let's say, logistic services in India. Let's say I'm from our lighting solutions for new age stadiums, right? So I can create a webinar. I'll like ask different customers, different prospective customers, client to participate in that webinar. Where I'll take that. So that it can be interactive also, right? It need not be a video recorded. It is, I can be online and as a sales manager, I'll be talking to them, right? Putting my, so that is a good way to reach out to many more customers, right? Only thing is that finding that contact, inviting them, making sure that they're joining. You create a webinar, only 5 people join, right? So that will obviously be a failure. Trade shows. Trade shows is one of the area where B2B companies do invest. It is not only to reach out to customers, it is reach out to suppliers also, because suppliers also will be participating. If let's say Maruti, automobile company, when they participate in this auto shows, there will be companies, engine manufacturers, component manufacturers who are participating there. So it is both way around, reaching out to customers, reaching out to your suppliers also. So this is a way to generate free publicity. So that nothing is free. Again, you have to pay money for that. So this is, I think I got it last year. So cost of meeting prospects is around 12,500, which is much less than personal sales cost, right? So again, it is not um, a specific industry, generic. For each industry, it might vary, and specific to India only, right? So on a survey, they found out that reaching out to prospective client, right? It is around, if I participate in a trade show, the amount I invest, transportation, stay, everything included. On an average, I spent 12,500 rupees to reach to a potential client, which is much less than. So see the difference, because I'm talking to them one to one, taking their contact details, understanding their problem. Right? Same thing, which I need to travel to their location. I need to kind of stay there for a few days, right? So that is now in a centrally, maybe I'm participating in Delhi, Mumbai. So the cost will be much lower. So around 12,500. Again, right now it might have a little bit. Anyhow, last 2 years, I don't think many things would have changed. But even if you take 12,500, it is lot less than the average. So remember the last time I asked you to do that business travel cost, right? Last assignment. So the amount of stay, taxi, airfare, right? It will be a lot less than reaching out to a client in this way through trade source. So this is where integrated marketing communication, when you talk about mixing of all, right? Only thing you have to remember, which is maximized, which is minimized, right? Depending upon budget, depending upon messaging, depending upon your media, right? And who is going to participate? What is in your control? What is not in your control? When I say not in control, you have might have outsourced it. So initial phase, building awareness, initial informing, internet advertisement, this trade so publicity, right? Works well, right? When you get into the, so in different phases of sales, right? When you look into the prospect, proposing solutions, informing, competitive advertisement, right? Here you need your salespeople will go and interact. So little bit of human interaction is required. Trade shows, sales tools, and internet. Internet right now we are moving into Web3, right? Lot more connectivity happening, right? Initially, yes, internet advertisement, your TV advertisement, webinars, all those things in the initial phase. So here, if you see the green part is less, right? Sales people role will be very less. But once you move ahead little in the sales funnel, the role of sales people will keep increasing, right? Then how you evaluate, that is the fifth step, right? Once I say that, okay, so one evaluation is cost per publication, cost per thousand of audience, right? Sound measurement program entails substantial advancement planning. So it is not that suddenly this year you are going to plan for how you are going to measure advertisement. That should be a standard process in your company to measure any kind of spend in this kind of promotions. Building a website, creating a webinar, creating, participating in trade. So you should have metrics as per your company. By participating in trade, so if I'm spending 2 lakh or 5 lakh of rupees or 10 lakh of rupees, how many contacts I'm getting, how many clients and prospects I'm getting, how many leads I'm getting. I should have a matrix as per that, right? For each of them, how much target market coverage I want to get, key buying motives. So am I able to generate, make them aware about those motives, sustainable solution. So if I talk about my product later on in a survey, what they recall. If I'm talking about Philips lighting, what are the three keywords they recall from my advertisement? Effectiveness of messages, right? So did it, now they do they connect with that cost effective solution? Because if their buying motive is cost effective and I am trying to sell them a sustainable solution, it might not match, right? Remember, at the end, I want to make sure that they're going to buy my product. It is not only about information. Media effectiveness, which media actually, like I was informing, I might have put a less money in social media, but that media might be giving me a better result. So later on, I'll try to focus on more on that. It is a iterative process. Each year I learn something, overall results, right? So in many ways, you can measure those key matrices. So for advertisement, mostly you look into three things: knowledge. Are they now aware about my product? Can they recall, recognize my product, recall my product? So remember the statistics. 61% of the engineers were not aware about those products. Preference, third part, are they now motivated to buy my product? Us creating awareness, now they can recall my product. Then are they able to, are they motivated enough to buy my product, or are they preferring my product, right? Which company ad is this? Anyone? Which one? Yeah. See, it will look to have a like kind of a very either good eyesight or a previous knowledge about this brand to understand that this logo is here, right? So without any messages, sometimes obviously you can show your creativeness, but it should follow with that. Okay, what is the brand message? Right? It doesn't show anything. It show a player, might be like kind of uh, strength, or might be kind of the energy. It might be want to represent the energy of that person, but it it is very difficult to look into this logo and understand that this is a Pepsi logo, right? Unless somebody looks into detail, right? So that is where you have to balance between what kind of messages you are going to give and how much creative you can be there, right? Okay, I'll stop here for today because I have invigilation duty right now. Any questions we can discuss in next class. Okay. Chalo, take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.